Behavior announced this week its intentions to fully roll out the skill-based matchmaking system alongside a reworked rank system that now gives players grades depending on how well they do over time with different survivors and killers. Grades are shared between survivors, but the MMR is different for killers. If your Wraith is only an Ash grade, you'll play against survivors of a similar rank. If your Hillbilly is a higher MMR, your matchmaking experience will scale accordingly.
I think we did a pretty good job so far.
Oh my goodness. So right now we're going into my third week of playing Dead by Daylight. My friends and I literally came back as ranks got reworked into grades, and I have to say, upon like my first 2 days of playing Dead by Daylight, I knew something was off. For an update that centralized a focal point on skill-based matchmaking, the matchmaking doesn't make sense. Some of my friends are absolutely brand new to the game or have barely touched it upon coming back to the game, and we are running into people who are Iridescent 1 clobbering us because they have devoted much more time into the game than say my buddies who came back and only have 5 hours in the past 2 weeks.
Fair.
Then of course we get a match where we lose a game to an Iridescent 1 Demogorgon who 4K'd us. Meanwhile, my friend Tim is only Ash 1. We then get matched in the next game with a Bronze 3 Hillbilly that straight up just AFK'd the whole match and trolled. This is the most polarizing skill-based matchmaking I have ever seen in a video game, and I have played Heroes of the Storm and Rainbow Six Siege where you are a copper matching against diamonds in casual play, or a level 14 matching against a level 3000. It straight up delves into asinine levels of absurdity, and it doesn't have the excuse of there's only 5 people playing my game, that's why the skill-based matchmaking may be skewed. You would think that there should be no way that an Ash player would ever get lobbied with an Iridescent 1, right? Well, want to know something funny? The grades apparently don't matter because the matchmaking is dependent on an invisible MMR depending on whether or not you survived or were killed within a trial. For example, if everyone escapes a trial against a Bronze killer, they could all get paired against an Iridescent 1 killer next game just because everyone survived the previous trial against someone that has a much lower grade than an Iridescent. It literally punishes you. By escaping, the game sends you to match against someone who is potentially much better and who is leagues of grades above you. This isn't skill-based, this is like the game trying to promote smurfing. It's like Luke Skywalker going from attacking a Wampa to fighting Darth Vader. Oh wait, that actually did happen. Now, to explain something to fellow new players of the game, this is a huge issue if the intent is indeed skill-based matchmaking. Grades are determined based on your color plus your number. So here I'm Iridescent 4. However, to progress up each rank, the game gives you pips after each trial depending on how well you played during that trial. It depends on how many generators you fix, how much time you evaded the killer, how many healing points you have, how many unhooks you did, how you assisted fellow survivors by blinding killers, proccing protection hits, etc. It is actually a pretty complex system that is really well done because it takes into account everything that you do in Dead by Daylight. All of these factors culminate together into the true survivor experience. You must work together to survive, and the pip system rewards you for that. But then the matchmaking disregards all of it because the grades don't dictate your matchmaking and invisible rating does. This game may be an asymmetric PvP thematic of survivors versus lone killer, but escaping is not the only goal, right?
That's the idea. That's all MMR is trying to do, is it goes, I know that you died, it's ignoring how you got there because there's too much nuance to be able to make a real effective system. So we just ignore that and we go, cool, you play the way that you want to play, you play the best that you can, or you can screw around. Do your thing. I know DBD players love to screw around. I like screwing around. You can screw around all you want, but at the end of the day, it's going to try to find a spot where, as a survivor, you're going to escape from about half the games that you play alive, however you got there.
Is this skill-based matchmaking?
No, this is Patrick.
How can they say that there is too much nuance to make an effective system when the pip and emblem system literally proves otherwise? It's how you rank up. Instead, they are saying that it doesn't matter how you play, just escape and your MMR will go up. This completely undermines not only the entire grade and pip system, but the whole game. There have been matches where people escape, but they didn't do jack all the whole game, and other times where people literally do so much the whole game, but then they sacrifice themselves for their other friends, so the MMR will go down for them because they end up simply not escaping. You have a pip system that takes everything you do in the game into account and ranks you up based on those achievements in the trial. But then matchmaking will just go ahead and say, nah, you escaped or you didn't, so we'll just give you a bronze or an iridescent killer next game, depending on that factor. But the thing is to progress your grades, say to go from gold to iridescent, you do have to do other things other than escaping. If you win the game too fast, say you didn't get chased enough by the killer, or you didn't unhook enough people because the killer is so bad that you end up gen rushing and the match is over within 4 minutes, congratulations, your MMR just went up. Thank you, behavior, but you just lost a pip in the process because you didn't do enough in the game because it was over so fast, meaning that you didn't rank up. I'm not joking, this happens a lot, and it is insane that it is allowed to exist because it completely overrides their pip and emblem system, which is so well done and takes into account other aspects of the game other than just escaping. To claim that there are too many nuances to make a solid system doesn't make sense. You already have it implemented in the game. To go from gold to iridescent, you cannot just escape a trial. You need to unhook other people. You need to play smart, you need to be successful at evading, heal other people, but then if you're an Ash 1, to get matched up with an iridescent one all the way at the top, all you have to do is escape. So that's the main problem. The grades are not relevant to the skill-based matchmaking, but it has to be, because the pip and grade system are intertwined. In order to get higher grades, you are not just escaping, you are doing things that a good killer or a good survivor would do in a match in order to improve their skills overall in Dead by Daylight. Just leaving the trial and escaping proves nothing. It is such a huge loophole that makes the giant glory hole in the Death Star seem like a tiny oversight. However, keep in mind that's what I think that they should do given the fact that MMR is already in the game. MMR even being in Dead by Daylight is a very polarizing and controversial topic to even start with, but if they're gonna include it, I guess have it at least make sense, since right now it's at the point where you get a 4K one game and then everyone escapes the next. It is a huge spike in difficulty. You're setting the win condition being that of solely escaping, but that's not the definition of a skilled player in Dead by Daylight. I honestly think that if they were hell-bent on adding an MMR, first they need to change the actual conditions of what's considered a win, and second they should add a casual mode, because the very reason people don't want MMR is because it will lead to sweat lobbies that have proxy or face camping killers. But as it is right now, the MMR is already pretty crazy. All iridescents bullying you one game to all Ash players face diving into hooks the next. I absolutely love Dead by Daylight. It's probably my favorite game right now so far, and I plan on playing it for honestly the foreseeable future. But Behavior's reluctance to admit a serious flaw in their design is all too reminiscent of another company that I have grown to seriously resent, which honestly triggers my PTSD more than Arnold when he steps foot into a jungle.